It has been one of the wildest weeks in Celtic's recent history. Christ, you could even extend that to Celtic's entire history. And that's no exaggeration. We've seen Celtic qualify for the latter stages of the Champions League for the first time in over a decade. Kyogo leaving the club. Jota returning to the club. Amongst all of that, we're still waiting on the arrival of Kieran Tierney. It is a crazy place to be right now. If anything, it feels a bit like a fever dream. Nonetheless, we have a lot to catch up on today. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that Jota will be signing for Celtic. So, let's get into this very big edition to end off the week. It's Celtic Transfer Talk. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm sure you're already thinking, what is that awful noise in the background of today's video? It's about 100 mile an hour winds here in Glasgow, so give me peace, don't complain about it. I am not Mother Nature, so I can't stop the winds, but nonetheless we're here to finish off the week in style. Brendan Rodgers today at his press conference giving a major update on the signing of Jota and the departure of Kyogo. If you said to me on Monday that we'd be ending the week in this position, I would have laughed. In fact, I even said that I would eat my own hat if any of this happened. It's one of the very few times on this channel in the 10 years that I've almost done this that I have been proven majorly wrong. But do you know what? I'm glad that I've been proven wrong. This is the one occasion where I can sit down and say, you know what? Hands up. Very much happy that I've been proven wrong. So let's get into the news. Brendan Rodgers this morning has confirmed that Kyogo is leaving Celtic and that Jota will be joining Celtic over the course of this weekend. Now, this comes as no surprise following yesterday's breaking news. If you didn't believe any of it for whatever reason, well, this is all you needed now. This is it straight from the horse's mouth. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed all of it is happening. If the photos of Kyogo in France weren't enough, if Fabrizio Romano reporting on Jota coming back wasn't enough, I'm sure this will finally tip it over the edge for you. Brendan Rodgers saying at his press conference today that Kyogo had expressed an interest to leave a number of months back. So this isn't just out of the blue. This isn't just because we had an opportunity to make some money. Kyogo has wanted to leave Celtic for a number of months. Now, this is something that's been speculated about. A lot of people said that his form's dipped because of the reason that he wanted to leave the club. A lot of people saying that all of this has happened because he wanted to go and play in a top 5 league so he could get into the Japanese national team. It was only speculation. Brendan Rodgers hinted towards this sort of reasoning a couple of weeks back at his press conference when he said, look, if you don't want to be fully committed to playing for Celtic, you don't need to be here. Well, today he confirmed that Kyogo did want to leave. And that's that now. It's out in the open. And, you know, I think there's going to be a lot of conversation that comes from this, a lot of debate, a lot of opinions that will fly around. And at the end of the day, I hold no malice against Kyogo wanting to move on for the sake of his own career. I don't have any bad feelings or ill intent towards any of it. I just think that it's a shame that it needs to end this way, and especially midway through a season. But he knows where his career is now. He's turned 30. He's not got a long time left. His best days, you could say, are behind him. If you go off recent form, potentially that is the case. I'm a firm believer, and I want to drill this point clear right now. Turning 30 does not mean you're over the hill in football. Turning 30 isn't the end of your career. We're not playing FIFA career mode here or Football Manager. You're still very much in your prime at 30 years of age, and Kyogo still has a lot to give in his career. So just because he's turned 30 doesn't mean that Celtic were desperate to get rid of him. But when you put it into the wider context of things, Kyogo will be 32 years of age by the time the next World Cup rolls round, or at least nearly 32. This could be his last chance at playing at a World Cup with Japan, because after that he'll be, 36? And he might be done. He could be finished by then. And if he can't get into the Japanese national team playing for Celtic right now, maybe the move to France was the best thing he could do for his own personal view on things, to get into that national team, to play at the World Cup in North America next year. I don't hold any ill intent. I wish him all the best and go, and I'm still devastated to see him go, but it does soften the blow. It softens the blow knowing that he wanted to go. It doesn't make me feel as gutted about it, but I am still devastated to see the wee man go. Anyway, Rodgers said that he did express an intention to leave a number of months back. Obviously then that expression becomes stronger, and it gets to this stage where he clearly wants to leave, and we have to do a deal that will finalise it for him. He's been an incredible player for the club, and in 3.5 years he's been here. I said it's not someone we wanted to lose, but we have to accept where he's at, the work he's done to give to Celtic, and at his age and where he's at, we have to accept that. So Kyogo has left. He goes with, I think, the best intentions and the best thoughts of the Celtic fans. I don't think, some people will hold this bitterly against him. We've seen it in the past when Kieran Tierney left and all the rest of it. People do say, oh, well, the grass isn't green on the other side, but I wish him all of the best. Brendan Rodgers did speak about the predicament it leaves us in. He said there's obviously an issue around the timing, but we have been aware it's going to happen, so it's not something that's just been sprung on us. We understand that we were going to lose him, and we have to replace that quality to keep the team moving forward. It's something that's been going on a little while, and hopefully we come out the window with a stronger squad. I think in those comments at that press conference today about Kyogo leaving and what we need to do about replacing him basically confirms to me that we are in the market for a striker, and we're going to talk about one of the stories that's kind of popped up again in a moment. But I think that Rodgers wouldn't be happy with only Jota coming in now in terms of attacking players. I know we're talking about Tierney potentially coming in, and trust me, Jota and Tierney would be a fantastic window on paper, but you need to replace Kyogo. You can't let him go and not bring in the required or the sufficient amount of quality in the forward areas. So, Rodgers knows that. He's been very open about that at this press conference. Will that lead to a striker being signed? We're going to come on to that in a later stage in the video. I can't believe that Jota is returning to Celtic. It's nuts. You've seen our live reaction to the news dropping last night on the Celtic The Thunder podcast. If you've not watched that yet, I recommend you go and hear all our opinions on it. But it's nuts. It's a pinch me moment. Like, I felt I was going to wake up this morning and be told that you dreamed all of this. Jota is coming home to Celtic. Nuts. One of my favourite Celtic players in my entire lifetime. He's up there. He's easily in my top 10, I think. In my conscious lifetime, he's one of the most technically gifted players I've ever seen in a Celtic shirt. I can only really remember players from about 2006, 2007 onwards. And when it comes to technically gifted players, he's right up there. He might be in the top 3. The only one that I think is better potentially is Shinsuke Nakamura. Jota, what a player. And he's going to be back in a Celtic shirt. It is insane to think about it. And in case you didn't want to believe it for any reason last night and you thought it might have been nonsense, well, Brendan Rodgers today confirming he will sign. Rodgers said that he is someone who is not finalised yet, but a player who would clearly be an incredible addition to our squad, given what he's been here before and his qualities. Hopefully we can complete that in the next 24 hours. So Brendan Rodgers hoping to have Jota as a Celtic player in the next 24 hours. Insane. It was only a couple of weeks ago at Celtic Park for a laugh. We were singing Jota on the wing in an attempt to kind of have a laugh with Brendan Rodgers. And now we'll genuinely be able to sing it with him being a permanent player. It's happening. We've had details on his travel over to Celtic. It's been delayed. We could have seen Jota announced as a Celtic player as early as tonight if it wasn't for this horrid storm outside. As per Anthony Joseph of Sky Sports, Jota was actually due to fly to Glasgow last night. There was rumours circulating online that he already did fly over, that there was a private jet coming from Lisbon, I believe, and people were speculating that it was him. It wasn't him. I didn't think it was in the first place, to be quite honest, but his flight was cancelled due to the weather, so the move has been delayed. He's now expected to travel to Glasgow over the weekend to finalise his personal terms and paperwork, so I think we might need to hold on till maybe Sunday at the earliest, or Monday maybe, until Jota, more details emerge around it and he's officially announced as a Celtic player. But it's on, it's happening, he is coming home. We've agreed a deal worth £8 million apparently. Some reporting, Stephen McGowan at the Daily Mail reporting it could be closer to £9 million. Listen, I'd pay 15, I'd pay £20 million to see Jota back in a Celtic shirt. That might sound like an exaggeration to some of you, but that's how much I love him and that's how good a player I think he has. Now I know his career has stagnated due to circumstances since moving to Saudi Arabia, and it's not quite worked out for him in France. I have full belief that he will hit the ground running when he's back to full match sharpness, when he's back to full fitness. It might take him a wee bit of time, especially with the quality that we have. It's not going to be easy for him to come in and dislodge a Nicholas Kuhn or a Dyson Maeda. Give him time, especially give him a pre-season. Next season especially, Jota will be back to his best. I'm fully confident of that. I'm delighted to see him return to the club. I can't quite believe it's happening. I think we could see an announcement about this early next week. Crazy stuff. So we know that Kyogo is gone. Brendan Rodgers has confirmed that that should be finalised this weekend. We know that Jota is returning. We're hoping that that could be confirmed within the next 48 hours. Brendan Rodgers hopeful of the next 24 hours. The weather doesn't seem to point in that direction for us at this moment in time. It's a big weekend, a huge weekend, and we still wait on Kieran Tierney. But the question remains, what happens about replacing Kyogo? We do need to replace Kyogo. There's no denying that. But Stephen McGowan and a few other outlets have reported, as you may know already, and there has been talk of this already the past few days, that we are back in to reignite our interests in Brøndby striker Mathias Kvistgaarden. So if you do go over to the article by Stephen McGowan in the Daily Mail where he details the Jota signing, if you scroll down and you get through all the initial part of the story, Stephen McGowan does say that Kyogo's departure will see Celtic renew their interest in Brøndby striker Mathias Kvistgaarden, the 22-year-old Dane who the manager Brendan Rodgers has been tracking for some time. With 38 goals in 109 games for Brøndby, Kvistgaarden has attracted interest from all around Europe. Celtic could face competition from Frankfurt, who are considering him as a replacement for Omar Marmoush. So a lot of this isn't exactly new information, considering we've spoke about this all week on the channel. However, some of the information that is key in all of this is that Kvistgaarden, who has 12 goals in 18 games across all competitions this season, is thought to want a move abroad, and it looks as though Brøndby are going to try and hold out for a fee that includes £10 million and add-ons. So they want over £10 million for the striker. I think that that's money that Celtic just need to accept they must pay. We've brought in 10 for Kyogo. I know that we've spent 8 or 9 of that on Jota, but you think of the $5 million we brought in for Bernabeu, you think of the money we made in the summer on players, you think of the money we've made for years upon years, the money that we've just made for qualifying for the next round of the Champions League, plus the extra £2.5–3 million you get for winning a game in the Champions League. There is no shortage of funds for Celtic to get this move done. And to be honest, Mathias Kvistgaarden might just be the best option out there. I think he's the most surefire and safest option. I know that's big money to spend on him, but at the end of the day, the bigger you spend, the higher the chances of getting a quality player. And there's a reason that one of the top sides in Germany, Eintracht Frankfurt, are interested in him, because he is that good. When you consider the lad is only 22 and you look through the stats of him and you look through the season he's having, I mean, this year so far in the Danish Superliga, he's scored 10 and 15. And in the Cup, he scored another 2. And in the the Conference League qualifiers, he scored another 2. And this is just the kind of player that he is. He's a ruthless goal scorer. I mean, that rate is pretty fantastic. I know 38 and 110 might not look as good, but you've got to remember, 22 years of age, took him his while to get into the first team starting spot. It's natural for a striker to have that sort of rate at this age. It's a very good rate this season alone. I mean, you go back to last season scoring 7 inside 20. I think that's pretty good. You go to the championship round of 2022-2023 where he scored 6 in the 9 championship round games. This has got to be the guy for me. This has got to be the striker that we sign. And if we can end this window with Jota, Kieran Tierney and Mathias Kvistgaarden, I think that's an all-timer of a window. Right, we probably will be back sometime very, very soon to talk about transfer updates, because things are changing rapidly. So bear with me. Make sure to hit like and subscribe to stay notified. Press that notification bell to stay up to date with everything that's going on. Be the first to know. But for now, that is all. Thank you very much. I appreciate your company. Take care, and I'll see you all next time.